Hi gang, it's Clayton Sandell at ABC News here. Thanks for clicking on us. We're here at the Colorado Springs Airport, and for me, this is kind of a very cool thing, being an aviation geek. We're going to take you inside Global Supertanker 944. This is actually a 747 that has been converted into a firefighting air tanker. It is one of the biggest in the world. It actually can drop about 20,000 gallons of either water or fire retardant at one time. That is more than any other plane by twofold. But first, last year I want to talk about the fire season. 2015 was one of the worst fire seasons we had. More than 10 million acres burned, more than 2,600 homes were destroyed, and the cost of fighting wildfires was something around $2.1 billion. And already this year, in 2016, fire season, we've seen about 1.4 million acres that have been burned. So if the season keeps on pace, we could be looking at another big, bad wildfire season. So we're going to take you inside Tanker 944 here and introduce you to the president and CEO, Jim Wheeler. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here.
Great to see you, sir.
So we would normally be standing in like first class here.
You would be in the first class cabin at this point.
You have cleared it out. Tell me what you've done here.
Well, wait a minute. We think this is first class.
This is.
What we have is a massive set of tanks. We prefer to call it the largest aerial plumbing job in the world.
Yeah.
These tanks hold liquid and air for firefighting. Air pressure gives the tanks the oomph, if you will, to push all the liquid out into a rain-type fashion. Versus dropping hard water on people.
Okay.
You'll get wet, but you won't get dead.
And I mentioned you can drop almost 20,000 gallons at once if you need to.
Correct.
How does that compare to the other airplanes in the firefighting fleet around the country?
Well, we are nearly twice as large as the next aircraft available for firefighting. But let me give it to you perhaps in a little bit different category. If you took 5 C-130s, it would equal 1 supertanker load.
Okay.
So instead of having to land and refuel and reload 5 times, what we do is 1 time.
Why use a plane this big? I mean, is it overkill on a fire?
No, there's no such thing as overkill. Let's take a critical look at what the fire seasons have done to people and property over the past few years. We've had some of the most horrific fires in America. 10 million acres burned last year in the United States. Half of that was in Alaska, the other half was in the lower 48.
Yeah.
A large aerial fire tanker is definitely needed to control and help the Forest Service prevent as well as extinguish these fires. Urban interface with forestry has become a huge issue as more and more people come around and they like to live near the trees. This creates a potential dangerous area, and this is where we come in. When we drop water, we hit a house, it gets wet, but it doesn't get crushed.
And a plane this big, how far can you go? How fast can you go?
Well, we can load this airplane up full and fly 4,000 nautical miles non-stop at about 550 miles an hour cruise speed, or if we're in a real hurry, we can push it up to almost 600.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean? That means we can leave Colorado Springs and be on a ship fire, for example, or a oil rig fire in the North Sea in a matter of hours.
So almost anywhere in the world in a very short amount of time.
Correct. That's why we are global supertanker. We can be anywhere in the world in 20 hours with 1 fuel stop.
Terrific. And so these tanks, you said, hold water and air, and how long does it take you to fill them up once you're on the ground?
These tanks will hold any liquid that is required to suppress a fire, not just water.
Okay.
So we can turn the airplane in about 30 to 35 minutes by pressurizing the tanks and loading the water. We have that capability. Now that depends on the water pressure of the area. Here at Colorado Springs, no problem.
How much does it take in terms of people to fly it, people to support it once you're out in the field?
Well, it takes a lot fewer to fly it than it does to support it, I can assure you. We have 2 pilots and a drop system operator, and his whole mantra is to set the tanks for whatever the ground crew or the lead pilot air crew is calling for. Pilots are flying the plane,